Rockstar Games has just committed one of the most blatant and ruthless acts of union busting in the history of the industry of gaming. What exactly is going on? Everything will be explained in today's video, and in addition to that, the creator of the Grand Theft Auto series gave an interview from which we can learn a few intriguing details. Among other things, he revealed that they had been working on a medieval game with fantasy elements. The creator of the original Deus Ex, after seeing the remaster, said, "What the fuck is this?" It's possible that Xbox will soon shake up the console market, because they are planning to get rid of the fee for online play. This and a few other smaller news items in today's episode. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to leave a thumbs up. I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's get started. From time to time, new features appear on Steam, some more interesting, some less so. Among the less favorable ones, for example, is displaying product reviews based on country or location. Among the better ones, we can mention clearer requirements for publishers regarding sales, like for season passes. And in the upcoming map update, a good change related to platform security is set to appear. If you've been on the platform for more than 2 weeks, then you're probably aware that among the millions of players on the platform, there are quite a few scammers trying to get money out of you. And now Steam will be better at protecting you from that. If some suspicious guy messages you, a notification will pop up in the chat window saying that his profile is suspicious and linked to suspicious activity. So it's a cool change that might save some people's asses, but I think that rather, it's good for new Steam users who don't yet know that if some Russian guy messages you asking what's up, he probably doesn't have good intentions. Deus Ex is a cult game series. It debuted in 2000, but in 2025 there's a huge trend of remastering everything. And so, at the recent Sony showcase, we saw Deus Ex Remastered, which wasn't received very well. It looks very strange, as if it was created by... artificial intelligence was used to make it. Some of the characters now look even more like they're made of rubber. The environment is empty. Practically nothing interesting has been added to the locations that could enhance them visually in any way. In the comments, people are joking that this is an upgrade from the year 2000 to 2005, and that using AI upscaling for Deus Ex is one of the greatest ironies in the gaming world. And there are many more negative comments like these. But the creator of Deus Ex gave an interview where the host showed him this demo and asked for his opinion. I'm talking specifically about Jerry O'Flaherty, the art director of the 2000 version. After seeing the remaster, he said, "What the fuck is this? No, we really didn't need this. I'm sorry to everyone who had anything to do with this. But if someone is doing it anyway, so be it. Who am I to judge?" One of the most absurd monetization practices that corporations have managed to push so far into the mainstream that people accept it is the fact that when playing on a console, we have to pay a subscription to use online features, to meet up with other players. For example, when you buy FIFA, to start and play a match in Ultimate Team, you have to pay 30 Polish zloty. This practice has been around for a very long time, and now there is practically no illusion that it could ever be withdrawn, that this practice could disappear. But an article appeared on Windows Central saying that Xbox might have plans to shake things up a bit here. The new Xbox could be the first console to eliminate paid multiplayer gaming. According to reports, Microsoft is considering the possibility of removing the multiplayer tax from the Xbox Live service. The current plan from the Green Team is that the next console, the upcoming next generation one, will not have paid multiplayer mode. It's not known whether this plan will ultimately be implemented, but Xbox does indeed have such intentions. The Green Team isn't doing too well right now, the console isn't selling, Xbox Game Pass is getting more expensive, and the games haven't been great lately either. So something like this could earn them quite a few points if they wanted to promote their next generation somehow. I'm also curious how PlayStation or even Nintendo would react to these changes. Would they bow down to the giant Microsoft and say, "Alright, we'll be competitive too, we'll also get rid of our 30 zloty fee, PS Plus, and people will be able to play multiplayer on our console for free"? I don't really believe in such a scenario. I don't even believe that Xbox would decide to withdraw it. It's practically a money printer because people are buying the console for quite a lot of money. People also pay quite a lot for the game itself, let's say FIFA, and to play a match in FIFA you have to pay an extra 30 Polish zloty per month. So it's a bit of an absurd situation, and it's strange that this is so deeply rooted in our gaming reality. It would be good if Xbox finally decided to make such a move because it could have a domino effect. A domino effect, you know? Maybe in the future something would change in this regard on other consoles as well. Let's move on. Just take a look at this game. And some of you might recognize it, right? Because this is a leak of a cancelled Sucker Punch game from 2020. And why am I telling you about this? Why am I talking to you about a leak from 2020? Well, the first thing is that I didn't know about it, so maybe some of you didn't know either. And the second thing is, there aren't any news stories right now, and I'm trying to fill the episode somehow, and this topic seemed interesting enough that I thought it would be cool to present it. So, Sucker Punch, this is the studio currently responsible for Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei. Before 2020, they had the idea to go for a bit of a Victorian vibe, kind of combining Assassin's Creed with The Order, that PlayStation game. And what they came up with was this 10-minute vertical slice showcasing gameplay elements and cutscenes. Here we see a bit of parkour, we see an open world that would be a Victorian city. We can see that the game is already at a pretty advanced stage here. And I have to say, I really like what I'm seeing, you know? This isn't the newest game anymore since the demo leaked in 2020, but it still looks absolutely fantastic. And right now, after playing Tsushima and after playing JT, if I could go back to 2020 and decide which game I'd rather get, I'd definitely choose this one, no question. But also keep in mind that I'm not a huge fan of either Tsushima or JT. Dan Houser is one of the most important factors behind the success of series like Grand Theft Auto or even Red Dead Redemption, and really Rockstar Games as a whole. He left the studio in 2020, and now he's working on some projects on the side. But he gave an interview in which he revealed some interesting details regarding Red Dead Redemption 2. He said that working on the game was accompanied by constant tension. Not only were they forced to delay the production, but they also went way over budget. A huge amount of content was supposed to be cut from the game. Content, as he said himself, that could have made up an entirely new game. For example, he mentioned the idea of showing us a dying child at the beginning of the game. Arthur Morgan's child. Now, this is just my speculation, but for instance, there's that Mexico map that unlocks at the end of the game. It also looks like something was cut from it. Well, a lot was cut out. In an interview, Dan Houser said that he wanted Nico Bellic to die at the end of Grand Theft Auto 4. That ultimately didn't happen, but as you can see, the idea stuck, and he killed off the main character in Red Dead Redemption 1. He was also asked where the popularity and such huge anticipation for Grand Theft Auto 6 comes from. To which he replied that they realized back in 2008 that when they say nothing about their new projects, when they go into that coma, well, the community hypes itself up and creates the marketing on their own. GTA series productions are so popular because they don't come out regularly. However, the most interesting statement from the interview was the one about a medieval game with fantasy elements. I remember that some time ago we showed you a leak about the concept work of one of the artists. They appeared on his LinkedIn and depicted medieval buildings. Buildings that don't fit either the Red Dead Redemption series or the Grand Theft Auto series. People then started to theorize that one of Rockstar Games' next titles might be set in the Middle Ages. And Dan Houser partially confirmed this speculation. Unfortunately, it's not that rosy. Namely, such a game. It was indeed in development, but unfortunately it won't come to fruition. We played around with the concept of knights, trying to create a mythological version of the game. I still love that idea. Dan Houser confirmed that the project was only discussed superficially and never even reached the writing stage. Dan Houser still believes that the idea would have worked perfectly if it had been made into a full game. And those are probably the most important pieces of information from the interview, but we're staying with Rockstar Games because they've been accused of committing one of the most blatant and ruthless acts of union busting in the history of the industry, games. These words were spoken by Alex Marshall, the president of the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain, because Rockstar Games laid off more than 30 employees from studios in the UK and Canada. It's strange that someone is so outraged about the firing of 30 employees in 2025, a year in which practically every day, well, maybe I exaggerated, but every week we get news about how Microsoft is laying off a lot of people, how it's shutting down studios, and then another giant is letting go of 17,000 employees. So what was the issue here? Why did the union specifically take issue in this case? Well, all the employees who were laid off were either members of unions or were trying to organize a new union at the development studio. They also belonged to a private union group on Discord. The IWGB says that this blatant disregard for the law and the lives of workers is an insult to their fans and the global industry. A spokesperson for Take-Two, the publisher of Rockstar Games, decided to respond to these allegations. He said that the layoffs were due to gross misconduct and that there were no other reasons. And how did they respond to that? We will not back down and we are not afraid. We will fight to reinstate every member. For now, there are no further developments in this situation. I doubt there will be anything more interesting to share with you here, but maybe if some drama does break out from this, which I doubt, of course you'll find out about it on LootBox. Subscribe to the channel. That's all for today. Take care and see you next time.